find your position, whatever that may be for you. So sitting, standing or lying down. I'm just sitting here with the feet shoulder width distance apart. The knees are about the same distance apart, so not allowing the knees to fall in or out. And I'm sitting up straight. So if you're in a sitting position, what's really good is if you can either support your own back or have a chair with the back vertical so that you're not slouching back, or even a stool. So if I turn to the side and show you just how I'm sitting so that I've got the chair with the straight back, but I could be on one without a back at all. So my back is, if you look at me now, you see that my back is straight. So you don't want to be sitting on the front of the chair and leaning back, nor do you want to be hunching forwards. Have a nice straight back. And the reason for that being that if you have a nice straight back, there's no curvature in the spine. And once the spine curves, what you're doing is you're kind of squashing everything, either in one direction or the other for the vertebrae. So the chi and the blood can't move freely through the spine. Whereas if it's directly straight up and down, then you're really creating conditions for that open and smooth, free flow of chi from the base of the spine all the way up and down between the head, the base of the neck and the base of the spine. So that's the reason why we sit upright. And also check if you're sitting that your feet are flat on the ground. So if you find that your chair's a little bit high and you feel you can only touch your tiptoes off the ground, then maybe grab a cushion or a little block or something and just pop your feet on there. Making sure now that your shoulders are nice and relaxed as well. And then with the arms, maybe move the elbows out to the side to create a little bit of a gap. And imagine now you've got a couple of oranges that you're holding underneath your armpits. So you're going to just have that sensation of a little bit of space underneath the arms as you just gently let the elbows come back down, but not clamping them like this against the sides of your body. Have a little bit of a gap. And then also just checking that your hands are resting on your thighs. You can also turn them face upwards just to see how that feels, whichever is more comfortable for you. Then check that there's lovely length in the back of your neck. So for that, again, I'll turn to the side just to show you. What you want to do is just to make sure that you're drawing the chin back towards the throat. But as you do that, the movement is kind of down and back, and then you feel a little bit of elevation up as you pull the chin to the throat, almost like you're creating a smiley face with your chin. So you'll see my chin now is going to come down and then back towards the throat and then up, and you feel this elevation at the back of the neck as you imagine that smiley face, rather than just dropping the chin down like this, which also creates length in the back of the neck, but what it's doing is it's constricting the throat. So to keep the throat nice and open, chin moving back, down, and then up at the back here. Checking that now the tongue is resting on the roof of your mouth with the tip of the tongue on the back of your upper teeth and your mouth is closed. Bring a smile to the corners of your mouth, and that smiling helps to release any tension that you may be holding in your face. You might also want to maybe move the jaw, open the mouth and move the jaw for a moment just from side to side, like that, just to release any tension you may be holding in the joints where the upper and the lower jaw meet. And now closing your eyes for a moment. We're going to bring ourselves into the Qigong state now with some abdominal breathing. So in Qigong, remember that most of the time our breathing is in and out through the nose. Unless your nose is blocked, if you have sinus infection or a cold, then you may need to use the mouth to breathe. Generally speaking, though, the breath is in and out through the nose. So keeping that gentle smile on your face, and observe your breath now as it moves in and out through the nose. Not changing anything, just observing how your breath is right now. Is it fast or slow? Does it feel deep or shallow? Can you hear yourself breathing? Or is it silent? And do you feel that as the breath moves in and out of your body, there's any obstruction or narrowing in the pathways of your airflow, either as you breathe in or breathe out? So observing is not judging, so be kind to yourself and just note those qualities of your breathing so that we can see how those qualities are at the end of this exercise. Breathing in now, and start to draw the breath in a little deeper into your lower abdominal area. This area in Qigong is called Dantian. So it's below the belly button, deep inside, and it's not just one point, it's a whole area. I think of it as almost like a front-loading washing machine with the drums spinning in a really dynamic way, which is circulating and spinning the qi around from Dantian and distributing it around the whole of the rest of the body. So as you breathe in, the belly expands, drawing qi into Dantian. And then as you breathe out, feeling the belly shrinking with the exhalation. So really just familiarizing yourself with that movement, the inflation and deflation of the lower abdominal area. And if it helps, you might want to imagine as you breathe in that you're inflating a balloon that's expanding in all directions. So not just feeling the belly pushing out and forwards, but also to the sides, back towards the spine, down towards the pelvis. So really going in all directions. And just keep going with the breath for a few more rounds. And this simple action of bringing our awareness to our breath brings us into what's called the Qigong state. This is the state in which we're prepared for our Qigong practice to come. And so that we can then get the most benefit from our session. And I'd like you to keep going with that breathing and just gently opening the eyes so that you can see me. So if we want to help and create the conditions whereby our mind is calm, then we can do it with some simple breathing exercises. There are many ways to help calm the mind, but Qigong is one of them, and the breathing exercises within Qigong are the most useful, I find anyway. And having a calm mind has many, many benefits. Obviously, it helps you to think more clearly. If your mind is calm and clear, you can be more focused, you can concentrate better, you may become less forgetful if you have any issues with your memory. And also it's very important to have a calm mind in order to sleep peacefully. So you cannot sleep peacefully at all if your mind is busy and racing and full of mind chatter. So breathing exercises are really helpful when you go into bed at night, just to enable you to get a good quality of sleep, a good quality sleep that's calm and peaceful and not interrupted. So if you just want a quick way of calming your mind, this is probably the best place to start. So closing the mouth and closing the eyes once more. Breathing in and out through the nose, keeping going with your abdominal breath. So by now you should have that lovely feeling of the movement of the belly, inflating and deflating, with the inhale and the exhale. And Qigong consists of three main elements: the movement, the breath, and the mind. So at the moment, you're feeling the movement of the belly, you're using the breath, which is causing the movement. And so we'll bring the mind into this now. So as you breathe in the next time, I'd like you to count to 4. So breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4. And as you breathe out, count to 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And just keep going like that, breathing in for 4 and breathing out for 4 for a few breaths. Keeping this breath flowing, smooth, soft and silent. And there's no need to hold the breath at any stage. And we're going to continue with the counting, still breathing in for 4. But the next time you exhale, I'd like you to exhale for a count of 6. So you're breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathing out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And see how that feels with a longer exhalation. Counting like this for a few more breaths. Now, if you find that a little tricky on the exhale, if you find that you're becoming short of breath, come back to breathing in for 4 and breathing out for 4. If you find that comfortable enough by breathing out for 6, then move on now to breathing in for 4 and breathing out for 8. So breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathing out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And keep going like that for a few more breaths. So finding the count on the exhale which is comfortable for you. There's no need to feel short of breath or that you're holding at any stage of the breath cycle. The longer exhalation can be really helpful for stimulating the parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your nervous system involved in resting, relaxing and digesting, which is why a lovely long exhale is so calming for the mind. It brings you into the state of rest. That's why it's so helpful for getting off to sleep at night. So keep going for a few more breaths with a longer exhale of whichever count you're working with right now. And now the next time you exhale, bring your count back to 4. So breathing in for 4 and breathing out for 4. And notice how that feels compared to what you've just been doing if you were working with a longer exhalation count. Now you can stop counting and bring your mind back to the simple observation of your breath as we did at the beginning. So ask yourself now, is my breath faster or slower than when we started? Is it deeper or shallower? Does it feel more free-flowing and open? Or was I able to identify any areas where it was maybe a little bit constricted? And is it quieter or louder than at the beginning? So again, no judgment, just simple observation as to whether or not your breath has changed in any way as a result of this practice. Not forgetting to keep the smile on the corners of your mouth, releasing any tension. If you're sitting, check that you're still sitting upright with a straight spine. And ask yourself now, while I was doing the counting of the breath, was I thinking about other stuff? Was there any mind chatter there? Or did my mind feel quite calm and relaxed? Often when we focus on counting, it allows our mind to become clearer and calmer. And then coupled with the longer exhalation, you can experience even more relaxation and calmness from that. So now, still with your eyes closed, place one hand over the lower belly, below the belly button, flat on the abdomen, so sitting over the top of Dantian. And then the other hand goes directly on top of the back of the first hand. Bringing your mind to Dantian in the lower abdomen and just circling, giving your belly a rub, firstly in one direction and then in the other. And then allow the hands to relax. Back on the thighs if you're sitting, down by your sides if you're standing or lying down, and gently opening the eyes. So that's a lovely, very simple practice of breathing, using your abdominal breath with some counting in order to calm your mind and help to just be a little bit clearer in your brain, reduce that mind chatter. And as I said there earlier, it's a really great exercise for helping if you go into bed at night and you have difficulty going off to sleep. So that can be as short or as long as you want in terms of a practice. Literally, once you get into the breathing, you could calm your mind in 3 or 4 breaths really quite quickly. So there's no excuse really for saying you don't have time or saying you don't have time for Qigong, because that simple abdominal breathing practice can literally be done in a couple of minutes.